Hello everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone SE second generation and compare it against the iPhone 8 and see how these two devices hold up in 2024. Now, the big thing I will definitely tell you is that in a lot of different ways, the iPhone SE 2 is going to be a significantly better phone for the average person than something like, the iPhone 8. The iPhone SE second gen, you're going to be getting a better chipset, a longer lasting phone. Pretty much everything is going to be better on that particular device than something like the iPhone 8. But the iPhone 8 is still a much cheaper phone. You can buy that phone all over the place for significantly cheaper, money. So which one is the better one for you? Let's go and talk about it. If you want to pick up either one of these phones though, for the cheapest prices that I find, links will be down in the description. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both of these particular devices, the first thing to keep in mind is that they're both built relatively the same. The iPhone 8 that came out back in 2017 on the front of this particular phone is giving you a 4.7-inch Retina IPS panel. This is a pretty basic panel, 750p. You're getting, the Force Touch display. You're getting a home button as well. Touch ID, pretty basic, display, 60 hertz. There's nothing super crazy going on with it. And it is basically a display in a type of phone that you probably expect from any other type of device out there. This is what goes on when you're getting devices like this. You're going to be getting a very, very basic type of layout, very basic type of thing, and it's an older styling of a device for sure. With the iPhone SE second generation, it is basically the exact same situation. This device looks and feels almost exactly the same way as, the other iPhone that we just talked about, the iPhone 8. It has the same size display, 4.7-inch panel. It's giving you pretty much everything across the board is exactly the same with this particular device. So it's not like you're going to buy something like the iPhone SE, the iPhone 8 and feel like you have that different of a device, and probably for the average person, you're not even going to be able to notice too many differences. If you're looking at an iPhone SE 2 and iPhone 8, just from the front, you probably, or the average person, probably won't be able to tell that big of a difference. Like almost the same exact phone on the front side. On the bottom, you're getting lightning ports, which is great to have. Pretty much same type of styling on the sides as well. On the back side, you're getting these glass backs, which again, look and feel very, very nice. I love having these glass backs, and that's something that I really do like about both these phones. You're getting your, single camera in the top left corner. This is one way to tell the difference between an iPhone 8 and an iPhone SE 2. You can see that the Apple logo on the iPhone SE 2 is centered, where the iPhone 8 is kind of up a little bit. So that is one way to kind of tell the difference between these two phones. There's also certain color variations of the iPhone SE 2 that never came out with the iPhone 8. So that right there is another thing, another way to kind of tell the difference between these two phones as well. So on the outside, you're getting IP certification, wireless charging, glass backs, everything is, there's a lot of overlap for sure, but I will definitely tell you between both of them, in my opinion, you're definitely getting the overall better one, I would say, probably in the iPhone SE 2, but they're still very roughly around the same thing too. So not really that big of a difference here either. Now, when it comes down to the price tag, this is also one other big thing to keep in mind. The iPhone 8 is going to be a bit of a cheaper phone than the iPhone SE second generation. So if you are going through and purchasing a phone between these two, you are going to notice that the iPhone 8 is going to be a cheaper phone overall than the iPhone SE 2. But you have to remember that with the iPhone SE 2, this is going to be a phone that, although it might be a little bit cheaper, the iPhone 8, you're not going to be getting as much or as cool of a stuff or as cool of a layout as the iPhone SE 2. There's going to be some advantages with that particular phone. And there's a really big advantage that I would highly consider on the iPhone SE 2 over the iPhone 8. So just kind of keep that in mind. But from that perspective, from the price tag and the exterior body, that kind of covers it up here for the most part. Now, some other big things to keep in mind is the camera. Now, funny enough, the cameras are fairly similar. There's not really that big of a difference here either. So on the iPhone 8, a 12 megapixel wide-angle lens, then a 7 megapixel front-facing camera. When you look at the iPhone SE 2, basically the exact same type of layout. You're getting a 12 megapixel wide-angle lens on the back, and then a 7 megapixel camera on the front. So 4K 60 on the back on both of them, 1080p at 30 on the front. There's really not many differences between these two particular phones. The only thing that I even kind of noticed is that there can be some more capability or some more quality enhancements with the iPhone SE 2, but these are strictly just, these aren't the, camera features that you'd expect. The only thing I think I even noticed was probably portrait mode that came with the iPhone SE 2, if that even came. Beyond that, there's not really too many improvements that Apple put in inside of the iPhone SE second generation. If you're going to go through and pick up a device, you're definitely not going to notice a difference between either one. So if I'm looking at both these phones, I'm pretty much looking at a phone on both that's pretty much the same type of camera, and these cameras weren't good. So that's not even really that's not even a positive statement for these types of devices. So once again, if I'm looking at both these phones, you're definitely going to be getting a better type of phone from any other device, at this point, going forward, rather than these particular phones. So once again, keep that in mind. I think if I'm going to go and pick up one of these phones, the iPhone SE2 would be better, but it's a very close, styling of camera that you have between these two. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now from the software side, this is by far probably the biggest difference when it comes down to both these particular phones. The iPhone SE second generation is definitely going to be giving you an overall better better software longevity. The iPhone SE2 is going to be giving you an overall better software longevity than the iPhone 8. Like if I'm going through and buying one of these types of phones, the iPhone SE2 is definitely going to be getting the one or giving you the one that's going to be giving you a longer lasting device, which is very, very important to keep in mind. If I'm going through and buying a phone, I definitely want it to last as long as possible. And the fact that the iPhone SE2 is still going to be getting software improvements, software features, things like that going on in the future, that is something I love to see inside of that particular device. And that in and of itself is a very, very important thing to keep in mind. I think the iPhone 8, it's still getting some iOS 16 updates as of this point, but it's not like anything crazy. Like it's not going to be lasting that long. And this in and of itself is like kind of a big thing to keep in mind here. So I do think this in and of itself is another very, very big thing to keep in mind. And definitely with something like the iPhone 8, this is one of those devices that's pretty much done getting software support. And I just want to really recommend buying it because it is done getting software support. So that in and of itself is another very big thing to keep in mind. And that's kind of how these two phones kind of compare from that particular side. Now from the performance side, the iPhone 8 is giving you that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside with 2GB of RAM, where the iPhone SE2 is giving you that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 3GB of RAM. And I definitely will tell you once again, when it comes down to the performance side, this is another area where the iPhone 8 just really isn't going to be doing that well compared to the iPhone SE2. The iPhone 8, when it first came out, it was great. It was a good performing device. And again, I didn't really have too many issues with it at that time. But with the iPhone SE second generation, this is going to be a device that's definitely going to be giving you an overall better experience pretty much for every single person. And this is without a doubt a very big thing to keep in mind. You're getting more RAM, so you're getting 1GB more of RAM, but you're also getting some other big things too. Like for one, you're getting a device that's going to be giving you an overall better experience, which is something I like. It's going to be performing better, and because the software improvements are going to be there too, this in and of itself is another very big thing to keep in mind here with this particular device as well. So once again, I look at something like the iPhone, like this one, and I do think that's overall going to be a better performing device, with the iPhone SE2 over the iPhone 8, any way you look at it. So from that kind of covers it up there too. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is, I definitely do like both these phones. Both these phones were very powerful. They both were very, very important phones when they first came out. I just don't know if these are phones I'd recommend anyone to buy anymore. Like if I had to go and buy both of these, I would probably go and just buy something like an iPhone, 12 or iPhone 13, than buying either one of these phones if I'm being honest. But I will say both these devices are great. There's still a lot of capability behind both these phones, and definitely when it comes down to it, these aren't terrible. But if I'm going through and buying a particular device, I definitely would highly recommend buying a phone that's still supported. So the iPhone SE2 is better, but the iPhone, like the iPhone, 8 is not terrible, but definitely switch up to an iPhone SE2 sooner than later. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.